He had a plan, but God had a different one. So keep watching to see how the king's sleepless night changed everything. Hi everybody, before we get started, if you wouldn't mind clicking subscribe to my channel, I would really appreciate it. And at the end, please like and share this video. Now here comes today's lesson. Welcome back. Our lesson this week is on Esther chapter 6. And if you want to see any of our other lessons, you can check them out right here. And so things did not look good for Mordecai when we ended our lesson in chapter 5. Haman was happily hatching a plan for his execution. And he arrived at the castle the next day, but there was a different plan. And it was all the result of a sleepless night by the king. And so let's pick it up here in Esther 6, verses 1 through 3. That night the king could not sleep, so he ordered the book of Chronicles, the record of his reign, to be brought in and read to him. It was found recorded there that Mordecai had exposed Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's officers who guarded the doorway, who had conspired to assassinate King Xerxes. What honor and recognition has Mordecai received for this? The king asked. Nothing has been done for him, his attendants answered. So, I don't know if you remember back in our previous lesson on chapter 2, I believe, the end of chapter 2, after Esther is crowned queen, Mordecai finds out about a plot to kill the king. And it's recorded in this book. And then nothing's happened except Haman is promoted, which was so strange in the next chapter. So here God is bringing this information at this exact moment to the king. And so here we go. We're going to see what happens next. And so this, restlessness, sometimes I think of when I'm restless that God is working. God is trying to teach me something, and he certainly was working on the king. And so guess who is standing nearby when this news comes to the king? It is Haman. He says, who is in the court? Esther 6, 4 through 6. Now Haman had just entered the outer court of the palace to speak to him about impaling Mordecai. Remember Haman's plan to execute Mordecai? And he said, his attendants answered, Haman is standing in the court, and bring him in, the king ordered. When Haman entered, the king asked him, what should be done for the man the king delights to honor? And so what perfect timing. So Haman shows up just when the king needs some advice, because we all know this king Xerxes likes to get advice. And so Haman is ready. He is thinking, this is my moment. The king wants to honor me. And so this vision that Haman has had in his mind probably for years of being kingly and dressed in royal robes and being paraded around is coming out and is exactly what he suggests. Because Haman thought to himself, it says in Esther 6, 6 through 9, who is there that the king would rather honor than me? And so he answered the king, for the man the king delights to honor, have him bring a royal robe the king has worn, and the horse the king has ridden, one with the royal crest placed on its head. And have him lead him through the city, proclaiming before him, this is what is done for the man the king delights to honor. And so make him like a king, because Haman thinks he's the chosen one. He's the one that's going to be honored. But this is where the twist in the plot occurs. Go at once, the king commanded Haman. Get the robe and the horse and do just as you suggested for Mordecai the Jew. Oh my goodness, his arch enemy who sits at the king's gate. Do not neglect anything you have recommended. And so the king loved his advice. And he said, go do it, but for Mordecai. This is getting good. So Haman, he had to do it. He got the robe, the horse. He robed Mordecai and led him on horseback through the city streets, proclaiming before him, this is what is done for the man the king delights to honor. It says in Esther 6:10 through 11. Haman was completely humiliated. It was the Jew Mordecai, as the text continues to repeat, the Jew Mordecai. Because remember, Haman was an Agagite and they hated the Jewish people. And Haman was trying to eliminate them, especially Mordecai. And now he had to parade him around town like a king, proclaiming all this praise to him. And so afterwards, it says, Mordecai returned to the king's gate, but Haman rushed home. So he's going back to the group that was honoring him the night before and filling him up and supporting him. And so his head was covered in grief, and he told Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends everything that had happened to him. His advisors and his wife Zeresh said to him, "Since Mordecai, before whom your downfall has started, is of Jewish origin, you cannot stand against him. You will surely come to ruin," it says in verses 12 through 13. So this is the same wife and the same group of people who were so supportive of Haman, who helped him hatch the plan to eliminate Mordecai, is now saying, "You're going down, Mordecai. You're not going to be able to prevail." And so, and he was completely embarrassed. Now his wife, his advisors, his friends are turning on him. But wait, it's gonna get worse. The king's attendants arrived in Esther 6:14 and hurried Haman away to the banquet Esther had prepared. This is getting so good. So this is the banquet, the next banquet that Esther has prepared for Haman and the king. So stay tuned. Next week, we are going to learn what happens in Esther chapter 7. It's getting good, and the tables are beginning to turn. Have a great week.